Welcome children to lecture number 4 of chapter number 2, First World War and Russian Revolution. In last chapter we saw about the main reasons for World War and the after effects of the World War 1. Now in this particular video we are going to see about the Russian Revolution mainly. Now we have seen about the Russian Revolution in the starting second lecture of the chapter we are going to see about into detail. The Russian Revolution started in 1970. This we know is considered as an important event in the world history. The Russian had been oppressed and suppressed by Tsar, of Russia. Tsars are the kings of Russia. The Russian Tsars who inherited the position, inherited means got it into the you can say Warsaw, or like the son of the king becomes the king, where all dictators and enjoyed uncontrolled rule over the people. They were dictators, they were almost like dictators and ruled the people in a uncontrolled manner. People did not have any rights. People did not have any rights during this period. The Tsar were so cruel and pitiless on people that if anyone demanded for rights, he was tortured, suppressed, and severely punished or condemned to be sent to bone-chilling death of Siberia. So anyone who opposed them were punished in a very cruel manner. This uncontrolled and oppressive Tsardom became the grief of poverty, suffering of people. People did not like it, and people were very unhappy with such kind of rule from the Tsar, their kings. The Russian farmers, laborers, and peasants were not getting enough income despite working hard. They were working very hard, but they were not getting proper income, and due to that, they were very unhappy with their kings. They became poor. See, due to this, they became poor. This is the photograph of Tsar Nicholas II. And here the people are protesting against the Tsar. Under the leadership of Father Gapon, a large rally was taken out to Tsar's residency. Father Gapon was one of the priests in one of the churches, and under his leadership, a large rally was being organized. Winter Palace, near the resident Winter Palace on 22nd January 1905 Sunday. The people were unarmed. Unarmed means they were not having any weapons with them. While some had the Tsar's picture in the hand, they were having Tsar. You can see here the pictures of Tsar into the hand of the people, with captions "Long live the little white lord of Russia." Okay, that were good slogans for the Tsar. But Tsar did not like it. Okay, writer on it. The Tsar's army opened fire on the innocent people. Okay, instead of saying anything of the people, you can see here the army opened fire. They started firing on the people, because of which thousands of innocent people died, and snow in Pittsburgh, where the Tsar's palace was situated, turned red. See, as the due to the blood of the people, the snow got red color, and due to this particular day is known as Bloody Sunday in history. Which day? The 22nd January 1905 is known as Bloody Sunday. Okay, 22nd January 1905 is known as Bloody Sunday in history. Around this time, a large number of Russians got provoked. This was not liked by many people, as the weakness of the Tsardom had become obvious when a small nation like Japan had defeated a massive nation like Russia in Russian-Japan War in 1904 and 1905. In order to pacify the anger, pacify is to calm the anger, Russian announced their announcement of call of Duma Legislative Assembly. Duma is the local, you can say, the parliament of Russia, which had not been called for years. It was not actually Duma had to be called every year, but due to the pathetic policies of the Tsars, it was not called for years, and now they are calling it to pacify, to calm down the anger of the Russians. Was made. Eventually, four Dumas were called. But before it can take any step to satisfy citizen, it had been called off. Okay, before they could actually take any step, they were called off. On 8th March 1917, the oppressed workers of Petrograd called for a strike. Okay. The Tsar sent his troops to contain the event. but the army refused to shoot at these people. See, Tsar sent his army to stop these people, but army refused to shoot at them. As a result, the revolt began. As a result, due to this revolt began. After the fall of Tsardom, okay, the rule of the Tsars came to an end. The power fell into the hand of Kerensky-led Bolshevik group, that is the minority group. Okay, and everyone was happy except for Lenin. Everyone in Russia was happy with the fall of Tsar, but Lenin believed in importance of laborers. Lenin was a leader of the laborers and said that the power should be given into the hand of the laborers, as propagated by Karl Marx, while the Menshevik group believed in the importance of middle class. The Menshevik group, which had the power, believed in middle class and told that the power should be into the hand of the middle class people, while the Lenin and his followers, who were the leaders of Bolshevik party, the Labor Party, told that the power should be into the hand of the laborers. As a result, Lenin instigated the Bolshevik against Menshevik. In November 1917, declared the final revolution and got the reins into his hand, and ultimately he got powers into his hand. This came to be known as Socialist Bolshevik Revolution, also the Russian Revolution or the Bolshevik Revolution. Thus, the 300-year-old Tsardom came to an end for the first time. See, for last 300 years, the Tsars were ruling over Russia, and now that came to an end. Russia was without a Tsar. For the first time in 300 years, Russia was without the Tsar. Now, what were the efforts made for world peace? The League of Nations, right? The League of Nations, which was formed in 1919, was an attempt for the peace. The horror of World War explained the absolute necessity of world peace into the nation of the world, and for this, a need for an international organization was found. There was a need for an international organization which could control the world from getting into a war. Okay, which could stop the world from getting into a war. So it became necessary to think actively and immediately about world peace. The American President Woodrow Wilson had contributed substantially into the establishment of League of Nations. See, here you can see the photograph of Woodrow Wilson. He is the person who gave this idea of League of Nations. League, here you understand this word. League means group. League is group. Okay, so group of nations. The 14-point suggestions by Woodrow Wilson were presented during the Paris Peace process on 10 January 1920. The League of Nations was formed. Okay, now League of Nations was an attempt, but it failed miserably. Why it failed miserably? Because it did not have that particular discipline into it. Now you can see here a dove, which is a symbol of peace, is given League of Nations. See, a big branch. Actually, you might have seen photograph of dove with a branch, actually a twig of olive into its beak, but here a big branch which cannot be carried by a bird is given. So this is a satire, this is a irony over the photograph. Now, what were the main aims of League of Nations? The main aims of League of Nations was to maintain international peace and security. Okay, the first main thing was to maintain the peace and security. Second was to see every nation to respect the unity and integrity of the nation. To see that every nation respects each other and they unite them and have a better relations with each other. Third, to give up the policy of war. Okay, not to fight. Okay. Third, to develop international relationship. Fifth, to solve international disputes peacefully and without fighting, without a war. Okay, without a war, through negotiations and mediations. And fifth, if any nation ignores League of Nations or mediation, it will be declared rebel. So any nation who does not follow League of Nations will be considered as rebel nation. Now you can see this photograph here. This dog is a symbol of war. The dog is a symbol of war, and League of Nations is a control on its mouth. Okay, but this particular League of Nations could not continue for a very long time. Why could not continue? Due to the selfish interest of the member nations. Now, on one side, America, France, Britain, Russia, this all, not Russia, other nations were saying that they should not fight or they should not have a war. But on other side, they were themselves busy controlling the nations and having fight and try to gain as much nations as possible. See, the League of Nations established the world peace, did not manage to keep a control over the imperialistic policies of superpower, and in 1939 the Second World War started. Okay, he could not control. The historians say that League of Nations was a type of interval of 20 years between two wars, between two wars. It was an interval between two wars. Okay, now you can see this photograph here, right? This is the eastern hemisphere. Okay, the world, we know that world is divided into two parts, the western hemisphere and the eastern hemisphere. Now in western hemisphere, okay, see, America was not, right, America was not ruling or not trying to rule any country. Here it is symbol of America, while here you can see all these European countries are trying to get as many countries as possible under them, right? And so into the eastern hemisphere the condition was totally different. So they were the leaders, they were actually the leaders of League of Nations, but they did not follow the disciplines, the rules by themselves, and they controlled many of the other nations into it, and that ultimately led to Second World War. So with this we complete our chapter number 2. Read the chapter and watch the videos for any of your problems into understanding.